Hello, friends, and welcome into Tennessee Titans today. I am Tom Downey. Before we get into some training camp winners and losers so far, today's show is sponsored by Mint Mobile. They have plans starting as low as $15 a month. So start saving on your cell phone wireless plan today by heading over to mintmobile.com/chatsports. More on them in a little bit, but we've got the winners to begin today's show, and we start with rookie first-round pick Treylon Burks, the ideal winner for Tennessee because they need him out there on the field. He's looked pretty damn good so far in training camp, making some plays, not missing reps. That's certainly very important to remember as well. And Burks, after the conditioning, asthma, weight, whatever, there's a combination of all things in the end, whatever was really going on in OTA's minicamp, doesn't appear to be a problem right now as we get going in camp, and that is a very big deal for Tennessee. We're going to keep you covered with everything going on around Titans training camp, so make sure you don't miss out. We've got over 4,230 subs, 236 to be exact here. Small number, though. Rookie numbers, got to pump them up. If you want more training camp updates, this is going to be a fantastic spot for you here on YouTube, so hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Roger McCreary is next up here. Now, you might have seen some of the highlights floating out there, which we're not going to post because that's stealing, and I don't like it when people do that. But Burks got McCreary on one play, which he tripped McCreary on accident, so that's fair. It's also not ideal for McCreary. He has not been perfect, but he's been scrappy. He's made some nice plays. He's looked a lot like the guy I saw on film at Auburn that I was so excited about, that I thought was going to be a stud player in the NFL. The Titans add McCreary to a cornerback room that's got a ton of talent. Elijah Molden's a bit banged up. More on him near the end of today's show. But McCreary and Burks, the team's top two picks, both look like pieces long term. We got some more winners to get to, then some losers. But I want you guys to shout out a training camp winner so far for me. Maybe some of you guys are even there at Titans camp. Drop a name or names for me in the comments section. Next up on a very offense-heavy winners list, because there are no pads on yet, right? That kind of makes sense, is Robert Woods. He is healthy. He's made some nice plays, checks off those two big boxes, and has also shown good chemistry so far with quarterback Ryan Tannehill, who we'll go more in depth on in a little bit. Woods, of course, missed a good portion of last year with that injury. He seems healthy. He and Caleb Farley both look healthy. I think those two being able to kind of almost go train against each other, both receivers, corner, ACLs. It's a good sign. I like what I've seen from Woods. I'm glad he's out there. He's the veteran presence who is going to be receiver 1A or maybe 1B with Treylon Burks. So our question of the day, who has more yards this year for Tennessee? Type in RW for Robert Woods or type in TB for Treylon Burks. This is the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad break happens to come here on YouTube, it's actually fantastic timing. While the ad plays, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in RW or TB. Let's go to our next training camp winner, quarterback Ryan Tannehill. We've actually got a shout out. Oh, who was it? It was, I think it was Jim Wyatt who was charting the numbers. I forgot to put that on my notes. But he's been sharp so far, Tannehill has. 34 of 40, 0 INTs so far in 7-on-7 and team drills. Now, remember, there's no pads on. You can't actually sack the quarterback. There are some plays that would go down as likely sacks that get counted as a catch. There's also one drop and one batted down pass mixed in there. I care about the drop a lot more than the batted down pass because that's quarterback mistake kind of sort of too. But overall, that's 85%. That's really good, and also not what is going to be in the season this upcoming year. So you're not going to read too much into it from that standpoint, but you do need a better version of Tannehill than last year from a yards and touchdown interception ratio perspective. He is getting up there in age. It's maybe one of the more surprising ages in the NFL. When you first hear it, you go, wait, Ryan Tannehill just turned 34? Seems like he's only 28, 29 still. Maybe that's just me being old, but he had the rough go early in his career in Miami and then found things again in Tennessee. So what is your confidence level in Ryan Tannehill? Scale this for me 1 to 100. 1 being you think, you know what, he's bad. I'd rather see Malik Willis. 100 being he's going to win NFL MVP this year. It should be somewhere in the middle, but sound off for me in the comments section. The next up on our winner of our initial 5 is Chig Okonkwo, the tight end. We talked about him during rookie minicamp, during OTAs, during mandatory minicamp. He drew praise then, and that has continued so far into training camp. The day 3 draft pick tight end out of Maryland has consistently been able to make some nice plays for Tennessee. He's flashed, and if you're getting flashes out of a day 3 rookie, that's normally a really good sign. It's always funny to me because I do my draft notes in advance, right? When I put player comps for guys, and then that team drafts the same player, i.e., I wrote down Delaney Walker for Chig Okonkwo. So far, so good, as far as I'm concerned. And, of course, Titans fans know Delaney oh so well. Now, today's show is sponsored by our good friends over at Mint Mobile. Inflation sucks. It's hurting everybody. But Mint Mobile is a fantastic way to save money on your cell phone plan. Unlimited talk and text, high-speed data, the ability to make mobile hotspots as needed, and it runs on the largest 5G network in America. So what are you waiting for? Make the switch today with plans starting as low as $15 a month. Their eSIM cards make it super easy. No going into the cell phone store and waiting all day to get it switched over. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. It's mintmobile.com/chatsports. That link's in the comments section and in the description. For today's winners and losers, I felt I would be remiss if I didn't mention the 3 players that Amani Hooker said the Titans' defense were having some trouble containing. That was Nick Westbrook-Akina, Mason Kinsey, and Austin Hooper. And those sound very much like winners as far as I'm concerned. Also a very different grouping of receivers in terms of play style and pass catchers, plus you got the one tight end in there. Let's begin with NWI. Nick Westbrook-Akina, the 6'2 receiver, who outplayed Julio Jones last year. Former UDFA out of Indiana. Has gotten better so far each year. He brings some nice size, almost 6'3", 6'2.5", 211. For now, I pencil him in as wide receiver 3, and I'm very curious how Tennessee utilizes their wide receiver core. Does Treylon Burks, like he did at Arkansas, get slot receiver reps in 3 receiver packages? If not, then it might open up the door for a Kyle Phillips or a Mason Kinsey to play a slightly bigger role on this team early on. And I, of course, do want to mention Mason Kinsey as a guy having a good camp so far per Amani Hooker. I will make note, special teams matters here a lot. There are probably too many productive receivers to make the roster for Tennessee. So special teams and potential injuries, knock on wood, could help solidify those positions. Then there's Austin Hooper, who apparently has had great chemistry with Tannehill pretty much since day 1. Tennessee tried to replace Jonnu Smith with a hodgepodge of random guys to a certain extent. There was some hype, some not hype, and ended up being a disaster with Jeff Swain being tight end 1. Hooper is a much more reliable piece at the position. Let's move to the losers. Unfortunately, there are losers in everything, including training camp. We begin with Elijah Molden, and I doubt he will stay on the losers list for very long. He did leave Friday's practice with some type of lower body ankle injury. They were doing the scoop and try to score fumble recovery drill, and Molden kind of went down and kind of got up limping. Maybe an ankle, maybe he twisted it. That's kind of the vibe I got watching the highlight clip of it. He did not return to Saturday's practice, so we'll see what happens on Monday, but Molden is out for the time being, but I wouldn't worry too much there. So I want you guys to be mean to an extent. Name a training camp loser so far. It's okay to say someone's a loser on July 31st, especially if they change it by August 31st. I'm not trying to be mean, but not everyone's playing great. That's, why players get cut and why only one team wins the title each year. So name a training camp loser for me so far. I am very much cheating on this one. I'm just going to call it the fumble. So Ben Jones not present at Saturday's practice. Daniel Munyer comes in as the backup center. Shotgun and botches it with an attempt to Ryan Tannehill. Was to the right of Tannehill. He couldn't bring it in. There's a fumble there. And then Amani Hooker, by the way, scooped and scored on that play. The very next snap, Dontrell Hilliard fumbled. Don't have that happen with back-to-back fumbles. So that's a negative that I'm sure Mike Vrabel will harp on plenty. Finally, there's Malik Willis. And I wouldn't read too much into this yet. As we've said pretty much from day 1, patience is the key with Malik Willis. There are some great highs, big plays, and then some lows as well. The consistency, and I think the comfort is not there yet for Malik Willis, and this is kind of what Mike Vrabel alluded to. Quote, assistants Pat O'Hara, Todd Downing have been trying to preach to him just to make sure that the timing improves because you only have a certain amount of time to get the pass off and the distribution of the route and everything that ties into that. I think overthinking happens when you're in a new situation, in a new offense, going against the defense with a lot of different multiple looks and disguises. We try to make it as hard as possible in practice, and hopefully things will start to slow down. But that's why you practice. That's why you meet. That's why you walk through. It's so that you're only thinking of a couple of details for each play. I don't think Willis is up to the speed yet of the NFL, and it's incredibly fast. I mean, go watch any film study review, and you can see how long it takes them to walk through, okay, this is going on, this. You'll spend 2 minutes setting up the play before it's even snapped, and then you break down the play as it happens. The amount of input signals that are being given to the quarterback at any given moment is an insanely large number. So it's understandable when you're coming from a Liberty offense that was not remotely NFL ready to the Tennessee Titans modern NFL offense that there's going to be an adjustment period. So yeah, he's been up and down. He's been holding the ball a little bit longer than you'd like. Be patient. He's got the arm and the athletic ability. It's just going to need to require some time in terms of the growth and the development. So yes, losers so far. No, don't panic yet.